Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Well, Teresa, I was reading something about the Olympians, and they talked about when they have to face down fear. And the question that they asked, this was from the New York Times, they were asked, does fear play a role in your sport? And a snowboarding champion, Leon Bockensberger, said, I can tell you it has a big role. Snowboarding is basically all about overcoming those fears. If you try a new trick, if you want to push the limits, you always have to also push to your level of fear. And Jacqueline Wiles, who is a alpine skier, said, fear plays a huge role in our sport. If anyone tells you otherwise, it's a lie. So it's a pretty big part of being a speed racer, especially it creeps into your psyche and you deal with it on a daily basis. I know others do too, but it is a big part of the sport. So when I looked at that just made me think about, something I recently read about the poet laureate Amanda Gorman, because she talked about how when she was asked to deliver a poem at Biden's inauguration, of course, that's a big honor. She was shocked to be asked, but she said it was the hardest thing. She dealt with all of the symptoms that go with being afraid. She couldn't sleep. She said she was just very anxious and constantly thinking she should, she had a deadline to let them know yes or no she would be doing this poem. And she said she was constantly thinking, I should just tell them no, because, people might not like it. I might fail. It might not go over well. But she said she just decided to do it anyway, because she felt like it was so important, not only important for her, but important for the nation to hear what she had to say. And of course, important for the community. And so she did it anyway. And so I thought, okay, we can talk a little bit about facing down fear and what that sort of looks like.
Well, I think while you were speaking, I was thinking about some level in those situations and circumstances, some level of fear, I think, is healthy.
Yeah.
Because especially in the case of the Olympians, if they did not have fear and they were so confident that they were going to do well, then they might mess up. But conversely, if they have too much fear, then that could cripple them and cause them to hurt themselves as well. Right, and the same with Amanda Gorman. I don't know if she thought about the fact that she would be speaking to the world, because it was more than just the United States. Right.
Yeah.
The world was watching. I mean, I don't know how she overcame that.
Yeah.
That is a fear. That's fear on a whole other level, right? And I'm so proud that she did overcome it, right? And she delivered. I would not have, I watched it live and I would not have known that she was nervous or had any fear, because she delivered so eloquently. She did such a fantastic. She made me so proud. Like I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Because I didn't know I never heard of her before.
I know, neither had I.
I was like, who is this little girl? And who is her mama? She must be so proud.
And she was beautiful and her delivery was flawless. So it was. But I mean, certainly you don't go through life without facing fear. And you're right. Sometimes it's good because it gives us the necessary level of caution in some things that may be dangerous, that may put us in harm's way. But oftentimes, like in her case, that's something that she did. She's a poet. And certainly after spending all this time creating something, you want others to hear it. You want an audience. You don't create so that it's just for you and kept in a closet. As a creator, that's your power, is to let others hear it and to let others be impacted by it. But, that's something we deal with constantly. And you have to make a really concerted effort when something, makes you fearful. I'm dealing with that now on a much smaller level, of course. And don't laugh, but, when we were out with the, everything was shut down with the pandemic and I didn't get to go to yoga, there were some poses that took me years to be able to do. And then when I went back, I couldn't do them and I had to slowly work my way back. And one of them that is just giving me a fit, the fixed firm that's on the floor. And it took me a while to get up my nerve to do that one. And I tried it in the last maybe month or so, and it was so painful. My thighs were just, it was like somebody was stabbing me because I think they were just so tight after all of that time. And because of the excruciating pain that I felt when I tried to do it again, when I go to the class, I keep talking to myself saying, Lou, you used to do this all the time.
That's right.
And they talk about muscle memory and your body will respond to that. But when I tell you, I go in there and I will not do it because what I remember is the pain that it caused the last time I tried to do it. So it's just, fear is just, it's an odd thing,
It is. And it is an odd thing. And it holds us back. In the case of what you just shared, you absolutely can do that pose, and it makes sense that you would feel some soreness. And I'm not laughing at you, but I know you, and that might have. You don't like pain, right?
Oh God, so, I can't take it. Me. I cannot. I have a low tolerance for pain. I just do.
Trust me, friend. Do the pose again, okay? You are ready. You got it. You can do it, and it's normal for you to feel your muscles to be tight because you'd been away from the pose for so long. Yeah. And I could never do that pose, right? So
but you could do others. I tried
and tried. My quads were way too tight.
Yeah, and that makes a difference. But when I thought about this, that also made me remember there was a time, on a job when there was a position available, one that I felt like my skills matched, but where I was, the organization, I think they had someone in mind already for that position.
Yeah.
And so I was silent when I, heard the position was going to be posted. I didn't really say anything. And I had a colleague who really, wanted to go for the position. And I didn't say anything because, I didn't want my colleague to be angry that I was also interested in the position. And then I also didn't want to run the risk with my director to apply. And then it'd be awkward that maybe I would get discouraged from applying and not even get an interview. So all of that was coming into play. So, but I tried to manage it, and I finally got my nerve up to actually apply for the position and ended up getting it. But I had to overcome a lot to even, I was new to the organization. That was the other thing. I hadn't been there very long at all. And then as soon as you get there, you're going for another position. And so there were a lot of things coming into play, but I just, I sat at home and tried to figure out, well, they won't know if I don't apply. Nobody's going to come to me and say, Lou, is this something you want to do? That was very obvious because nobody had. But I just went forward. And so, in that instance, it worked out.
That's a great story, Lou. And have you heard that quote by Nelson Mandela? The one where he said, it always seems impossible until it's done.
Yeah.
Right. And that is something that I share with my daughter a lot, because with her, she is hesitant to take on many things. Right. And I'm like, give it a try. And when it's over, we will sit down and talk about how nervous you were leading up to doing it. And she laughed and she said, you always say that, but is it always true? Yeah, it is. It always seems impossible until it's done.
Right. And Teresa, particularly as women, we have to be mindful that we don't shut ourselves down, because society closes so many doors anyway. We deal with the glass ceiling, we deal with being overlooked and, with various labels, but we have to really work hard to make sure that we don't limit ourselves and we work against the fear. And it's like you say, like you tell your daughter, you do it anyway, even if you're afraid, do it anyway. You know? Yeah.
And it does fall right in the face of do as I say, not as I do.
I know, right?
Because I have my own fear, not that I share it with her, but the one that you and I know about me is the fear of social media.
Yeah. We both have that. Yeah. But Teresa, we are slowly, branching out in that. And you've been the trailblazer with that. And both of us were nervous about it. But, it's when you realize that nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And that if you look at things critically and realize there may be a lost opportunity there. And, those don't come around all the time. And so you have to be the one to put yourself out there and go for it. But I'm with you. I was so proud of her for managing her fear. And even in managing her fear, that was a testimony for me. Yeah. To see her to do that and realize when she shared what she went through to get to that point. So you have the case of the young leading us and showing us the way, and that's certainly appreciated. So absolutely, yeah. So it's fear is just something that's with us. A lot of times, it's because of things we've been told. People can project their own fear onto you. Sometimes it's because people, they like you where they are, and they're comfortable with you, the Teresa that they've always known. But sometimes it's that people can love you and they don't want to see you be disappointed. And some of that is just being protective of you, because people, when you love someone, you try to protect them and you just don't want to see them disappointed. But
being all kind. Yeah. What about the hate?
Yeah. Well, that was my first part. That's what I was referencing when I said people they get comfortable with where you are and the interactions you have with them. So they don't like people to rock the boat. And so that But that's what I meant earlier when I said, you know what, we have to think about that. Right. That it's not about you leaving people. It's about you going forward with your dreams.
That's
with
right.
You taking advantage of opportunities, because like I said, they don't come around that often. So,
that's right.
You know, you certainly want to seize those when they present themselves. So, you know, we're just talking about fear today and trying to encourage our audience and ourselves to let Amanda Gorman be an example to us, that even when we're placed in positions or in environments that may be a bit intimidating to us, to go for it anyway, to prepare, get yourself ready, and step out. So
that's right.
You know, that's our hope today here on Earrings Off.